I'm Patty Thomas, and it's so great to see you. Welcome to the 11th Annual Culture Park Short Plays Marathon, where we are going to feature today 28 or 29, I'm not sure, staged readings of short plays by local and regional playwrights. Over 150 playwrights globally responded. They're like, sure, I'll send my play. Ding! You know, it gets there. And from which the committee selected 28. We also like to feature community members and people who are taking steps, maybe writing a play for the first time, new actors alongside equity actors, and the whole range throughout the day. So it's a really great day, and I thank you again for coming. Never been produced plays. So we have an ensemble of nearly 50 actors and directors who are helping us out throughout the day and now you provide one of the final necessary ingredients as the audience. And that's really something that's priceless, and that's why we do this, so the playwrights can hear their play and either scratch it or, or develop it further or send it somewhere else, and so you give them that opportunity. So throughout the day, you may travel from a rent-controlled apartment in New York, and Who Let the Dogs Out, to a Catholic grammar school schoolyard in the play Recess, to the Terezin ghetto in The Rabbi and the Virgin, and to a New Orleans brothel / witch's lair in The Binding Spell later tonight. Lots and lots of people we'd like to thank throughout the day. I really want to thank the actors, the playwrights, the Whaling Museum, the directors, and all of the committee. And you'll meet the committee throughout the day as we have our playwrights panels giving you brief opportunities to have an exchange with the writers. And then finally, to a cooking demonstration given by a Bhutanese refugee in the first play of the marathon this year, The Cooking Lesson by Dorothy Abram.
First, everyone wash your hands. Good. Now write the recipe down as I prepare it for you to make next time. You need 3 kinds of flour: rice, wheat, and the kind of corn flour that we call suji, and a very large bowl. I don't remember the first time I made seroti, but you have this evening's cooking class to mark today's date for you. In Nepal and Bhutan, and especially as Nepali-Bhutanese, we grow up with seroti. It's the scent and taste of joy and celebration, and also marks when we feel sadness too. Seroti is always present at all our feasts, at marriage and death, and everything in between. Every party and every reunion features seroti. You'll see when we squeeze the batter into the hot mustard oil that we make sure that we overlap its ends. That's important to us Nepali-Bhutanese. It means that ends in our lives will overlap with their beginnings, and so promise us that we will meet again. Seroti signal the hope of return and reunion. When we eat seroti together, we know that we will meet again. Perhaps we'll meet again at another cooking class, yes. In the refugee camps, we didn't have cooking classes. We just figured out how to cook our monthly allotment of rice and everything else too, through 18 years. Yes, 18 years in the refugee camps. Bhutan would not allow us to return to our homes, as if we were criminals. They considered us terrorists for wanting civil rights for Hindus in the south. It didn't make sense. Pardon, what's that you ask? How many calories? We never count calories, so I wouldn't know. Yes, seroti means fried bread. No, that's not too fattening. I told you, we eat them all the time. Before I left America, they told me that I gain a lot of weight after I come here, and that I should sew some really huge cholis. You know, the big bra part of the sari. The 6-yard sari strut fabric is obviously expandable. How big? I asked them. This big. This bigger. This biggest? Wow. You could fit our entire community in that, and a couple of water buffaloes. I don't know why I didn't get fat too. I ate Nepalese food there. I eat Nepalese food here. But my little boys, they like French fries better than serotis. Can you imagine such a thing? Oh yes, we eat potatoes, but rice is our food, the gift of the gods, our blessing. Yes, rice. Speaking of blessing, did you know that the first thing Buddha did when he became the Buddha was to outlaw the caste system in Buddhism? Ha! Well, guess what? The first thing this supposed Buddhist government did in Bhutan was to make sure that we Hindus were lower than the untouchables, to curse us and exile us. If you act like you have a caste system, it doesn't matter if you actually call it caste or not. That's what I think. Oh, have I lost my focus with our seroti lesson? Goodness, let's see. Now, blend the flours in the bowl, and you can add a touch of baking powder just to give the bread a nice puffiness. Though the most accomplished cooks claim they don't need baking powder to get that effect. Ha. Even I add the baking powder, and no one makes better seroti than I. Now, slowly add the milk. It's my secret, the milk, so that the rings don't absorb too much oil. No, we don't use a spoon. No mixer either. We use our hands. This is the best utensil there is. That way, you feel the texture of the batter. You sense the lumps that try to run by and you catch them between your fingers and press. Ha. Now the batter feels smooth and silky. That is when you are done with the mixing of the batter, that is. Now let's heat the mustard oil. Yes, mustard. You can use vegetable, but mustard is better. Mustard oil in a large frying pan. Hot enough so a speck of batter thrown into the depths of the oil then swims beautifully in a golden bath with bubbles as it rises to the surface. That's how hot it should be. Yes, you smell it. The aroma of mustard oil is quite strong. It took me a long time to be able to smell it again after. Yes, after that. But now I can. What? I'm sorry, what did you ask? Why I reacted to the scent of the mustard oil? No, it wasn't an allergy. We don't have allergies in Nepal. When we first arrived in the United States, my daughter came home from school and asked if she could have an allergy like the other children in the class. I didn't know what an allergy was, but I promised her one, if we could afford it, that is, for the holiday. Then I found out allergies, what a concept. To resist food as if it is an enemy. In Nepal, we use food for medicine. We use foods to cure sickness, not to cause it. Sometimes it's hard to understand the ways here. No, I only have sons. Oh, but all our children in the family are our children, so I call her my daughter. Okay, the batter is ready and the oil is hot. A question. Oh, do you use food processors in Bhutan? Yes, of course. And we'll use a food processor today, too. But in Bhutan, we call it differently. We call it, how you say? Oh, yes. We call it a mortar and pestle. It does everything, yes? And fast, too. Of course, if you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can always use a large, round, smooth stone that you find on a walk outside. Well, obviously, you must wash it and dry it first. When you find the correct grinding stone for your hand and for your use as well, oh, cooking is a delight, isn't it? Oh, yes, someone go outside and find a branch, remove the leaves for a stick about this long and whittle it to a point. Why are you all sitting there? Someone has to do it. Well, yes, I suppose we could use tongs, but they don't work as well as a sharpened stick. Why do you have to buy everything when it's so easy to make it yourself? I don't understand, really. Okay, we need a plate to put them on. That's it. Now, grab a handful of butter. Just a palmful, it's the exact amount. Like this. Squeeze it into the oil. Be careful, it's very hot. Into a circle with overlapping ends. That's very important, they must overlap. You see? Easy. Now, you try. Be careful. Yes? Well, that's not quite a circle, but that's okay. You watch again. You go like this. Well, no. Like this. Let me show you. It's not so hard, no? No, that's not it. That's more like a ziggle. Ziggle is not a word. Well, you just made one. Let me show you again. Like this. I have done it for so long, and so often that it seems simple, but I suppose it does take some practice. I make 108 rotis every year for just one holiday alone, Swastani. And then there's Shivatri and Tihar, and, well, there's so many holidays in Hinduism. And for the children, of course. Oh, yes, I have 4 boys. Well, it was when I had just given birth to my twins, my 2 youngest boys. Yes, Lok and Lakshmi. You met them when you came. Good boys, identical twins. And we joke now that they are the family's bad luck. Oh yes, it is just a joke, though very shortly after they were born, just a few days later, the police took my husband away and jailed him for his protest for civil rights. It was such a difficult time. You see, it's not like here, where you have rights and a legal system to rely on. Once he disappeared into the Bhutanese jail system, I couldn't find him again. It was a good thing that I didn't know he was being tortured then, for I don't think I could have survived the heartache. It was hard enough as it was, having the 4 boys to care for. I cried every night. Is that any way to bring up children? The only thing I could do to really affect the situation and to bring my beloved Lakshman home again was to beg the goddess to bestow this boon. You need more oil in your pan. Yes, that's it. When the goddess sees such devotion and dedication, she grants our prayer. And that's what I did every year for 5 years. Part of this ritual is to make 108 rotis. I mixed and fried and mixed and fried until I filled the whole house with the sweet scent of rotis cooking in pungent mustard oil. No, we don't have glazed rotis. I said sweet because rotis are such sweet pleasure for us. Yes, as I was saying at the 5th year, when I was finally on the final 8 of the 108, the most unexpected, well, unexpected, but anticipated too. The most amazing thing happened. I had just lifted the 108th cell roti from the pan when the door opened and in walked Laxman. Well, in came Laxman, carried by his two brothers. He was so weak. I placed 8 cell rotis on a platter, as the ritual requires, and I walked over to Laxman, as if he hadn't even been absent for the past 5 years, and offered him the fresh, hot, fragrant cell rotis. You see, the wife must first offer 8 of the 108 cell rotis to her husband. That's the ritual. Why? I don't know why. We don't ask those questions. We just do it. Experience it. That's how you truly understand. Look how good you made that cell roti. Try again. You see? Once you experience it, you understand. And the questions are answered without even being asked. So, as I was saying, somehow Laxman, so frail and weak that he could not even stand on his own, managed to smile at me. Or was it because of the scent of the cell rotis? Before he collapsed into a chair. You see, the goddess had finally granted my request. Laxman had returned because I had performed swastani with devotion for 5 years. What do you mean by 5 years? Prayers aren't answered just for nothing in Hinduism, just because you want it. What do you call that here? I know you have a word for it. Is it instant coffee? No, instant winner. No, not that either. I know. Instant gratification. You want it, you get it. So why do you need devotion or gods? It's not like at the supermarket here, where if you have the right coupon, everything is free and fast. I even saw on television that a woman had so many coupons that the store paid her real money to take away a wagon full of groceries. Why did she need so much shampoo when she had 4 boys just like me and they all had short hair? But it was free, so she was happy. And especially because her neighbors were so jealous. And she got to be on television, and she became a star, a big famous person for cutting out coupons and winning all that shampoo. Shampoo that did the most amazing things, miracles even. Like it made her hair sing like a loud radio. That was the shampoo with volume. Look, we're almost done with the cell rotis. Oh my, I forgot what I was telling you. Oh yes, I was telling you about the goddess Swastani, how she had answered my prayer that Laxman returned to me from prison. Why are you shaking your head? And you're rolling your eyes. You don't believe. Of course she did. You don't think so. I have the evidence. He returned during the festival of Swastani just in time to be given the husband's portion of the cell rotis, and that proves it. You still shake your head. What evidence do you have that his return didn't happen through the intervention of the gods? Cell roti returns. Swastani, the beginning meets the end. And there he was, finally, after so many years. My prayers were finally answered. Oh, what? You are already starting eating the cell rotis. Oh, my. Why? No, it's not exactly wrong. It's just that we usually take the first pieces, the best pieces, and offer them to our God. No, it's not a sacrifice. Well, at least not a sacrifice as you may mean with knives and blood and gore and things like that. Actually, it is sort of like a sacrifice, but it's an offering. Yes, we believe that our God... What? Where is he? In the family shrine upstairs, of course. What did you say? Like room service? I don't understand. What is service to a room? No, we are serving our God. What do you mean, does he eat the serotis? Why do you laugh? Of course he does. What else? Oh, my. But that really isn't the point, is it? Okay. Let me think for a moment how to explain this. You see, we practice giving the best breads, the first seroti away, to our god Shiva. That is a holy act. It shows that we can control our desires and greed for a greater good. What greater good, you ask? It demonstrates our selflessness. Well, yes, of course we eat it later. You see, the food has changed in the meantime by being offered to our God. It becomes what we call prasad, blessed food, and it tastes divine and delicious. We collect the entire prasad, the offering, and then divide it into equal parts so that everyone has a portion to enjoy. That's justice for all. It's sort of like when you say grace before a meal. Only then, that's all words and no actions that demonstrate your faith. No, I'm not judging you. In Hinduism, we believe that everyone has their own path to follow in life. Really. Well, think of it this way. Life is like a seroti. It's true. All parts of a seroti are made of the same batter, and they circle around the same center. But each one is a little different, unique, and eaten by so many different people, like you and me. Get it? Seroti is the symbol and substance of life itself. Now, help yourself to this platter of serotis. Oh my, I lose my focus so easily. And we have so much more to cook. Next, we will make chili pepper pickles that go so well with Himalayan food, especially seroti. They're spicy hot. Please, start chopping the chilies. I like the little green ones. They're the hottest.